Hello, welcome to my video for the Yummy Jols competition for Lowe's Hotels. The task was to create a main course dish for the opening of the Caribbean inspired Sapphire Falls Hotel. What I've decided to cook is a jerk style pork belly with a sweet potato terrine and a mango salsa. So the first thing we need to do is make the jerk marinade that we're going to use to coat the pork belly and leave it to infuse all those flavours. So what I've got is some spring onions or scallions chopped finely, which I'm going to put into my bowl. And then I've got 3 cloves of garlic finely chopped. I've got some medium heat red and green chilies. Traditionally Scotch bonnet chilies are used, but to make this dish more kind of accessible for populations that have varying tastes in how hot they want their food to be, I've used medium heat chilies instead, but I have left the seeds in to give it that extra kick because jerk is traditionally very hot. And then I've got about 65 millilitres of lemon juice, which is about the juice of 2 lemons, which I'm going to add in. And this acidity that's coming from the lemon juice is going to help to make the pork nice and tender, because the acids are going to start breaking down the proteins. So I'm just going to add this in here. And we're going to leave this on the pork for as long as possible. You could marinate it overnight. I'm going to do mine for about 3 hours, just to start letting those flavours get in. And then I've got some fresh thyme, so I'm going to put the leaves in there, like this. And that's all of our fresh ingredients in here like this. And then I've got some runny honey, about a tablespoonful of that, and the honey, which I'm going to add, and I'm going to add some sugar as well, will give a sweetness, but what it will also do is help the meat to caramelise, which will give some more flavour. I've got 2 teaspoons of dark brown sugar, which again is for the sweetness. And then I've got a splash of rum, traditionally used in the Caribbean for the jerk sauce. Salt and pepper, about a teaspoon of each, like this. And then I've got 2 teaspoons of dried oregano. Again, some herbs in there. I got a teaspoon of allspice. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And then a teaspoon of nutmeg, and you can use the ground nutmeg, but I'm using fresh because it gives a better flavour, more intense flavour. So I'm just going to grate this in here, using about a teaspoon. And then I'm just going to mix this all together, and that's going to be our marinade complete, which will really help the pork to get some nice flavour in there. So this is what the marinade looks like here. So that's finished. You could blitz this to make it smoother, but it's quite nice to have it coarse as well. It's up to you really. So that's done. So now I'm going to move on to the pork. Got a pork belly here. It's really important to get a nice high quality pork with a good fat content, and this one is actually one that's produced by my family. So it's really good quality. You need it deboned, you need the skin scored like this. And what I'm going to do additionally is I'm just going to slash the meat, and what this is going to do is help the marinade get into the meat. So I'm just making some nice deep cuts in here. Okay. And then I'm going to put it in my tray, flesh side up like this, and then I'm just going to put the marinade in there all over the meat like this. And what I'm going to do is just work it into the meat. You need to rub it in there to make sure that it's got in all of those nooks and crannies, so that when it marinates, it's actually going to penetrate the meat with some of that flavour and that acidity from the lemon juice. So just work it all into all of the cracks like this. And then, as you can see, it's all coated, all of it like this. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cover that with cling film and leave it in the fridge for as long as possible. As I said, I'm going to do it for 3 hours, but you can marinate it for longer, possibly overnight, until it's ready to go in the oven. So I'm just going to wash my hands. And that's that part done. Okay, so my pork belly has been marinating for 3 hours now, and what I've done is I have placed some chopped onions underneath it to suspend it a little bit so the heat can get underneath, and I've covered it in tin foil and I've put it in the oven. I'm going to put it in there at about 150 degrees for about 2.5 hours, and this is to slow cook it so it's nice and tender. And then I'm going to remove the foil, turn it skin side up, and then turn the heat right up to get some nice crackling on the top of the pork belly at the end of the cooking. So it should take about 3 hours in total to cook. But while it's cooking, while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to make the other 2 elements of the dish, which is the mango salsa and the sweet potato terrine. So for the mango salsa, I've got some mangoes here which I have taken the seed out, and I've done a brunoise on them. So I'm just going to finish doing that now. I chose mangoes to go with the pork because often fruit and meat are paired in Jamaican and Caribbean cooking. So I wanted to choose a fruit that would grow in the kind of countries that is exported, and also one that pairs quite nicely because mangoes are very sweet, and that goes well with the jerk. It's a nice kind of relief from the spiciness and the kind of richness of the pork. So I'm just finishing cutting them up now, and then what I'm going to add, again I'm going to add some honey for sweetness. It's a really good natural sweetener, and then I'm also going to add a little bit of chilli. I've taken the seeds out this time because I don't want it to be as spicy as the jerk seasoning that I used on the pork. I just want a slight hint of spice. So I've chopped them up really finely, taken the seed out, and I'm just going to put them into the mangoes here. Just a tiny bit, and that will give a really nice colour. So it will look really vibrant colours on the plate. And I've put it in here like this. So then I'm going to add my honey. I only want a little bit because I've already got the sweetness from the mango. And then I'm going to add some lime zest, which is again that kind of tropical kind of flavours, Caribbean flavours. Adding that to the bowl, probably the zest of about half a lime, and I'm going to add some juice in there as well. And again, what the acidity is going to do is it's going to break down the mango a little bit, and it's going to help the juice to mingle all those flavours together. So just put that in there like that. But I won't put the juice of the whole lime in there because I don't want it to overpower the flavours of mango. So just give that a nice mix. And then again, for colour and for that fresh flavour, I'm going to add some chopped coriander or cilantro, which I've just got here. I'm just going to roll it up nice and tightly so that I can chiffonade it with my knife. Just going to add that to the bowl there and mix it together. And that's my lovely mango salsa there. I'm just going to add a little bit of salt for seasoning and some pepper as well. Just because, although it's quite a sweet accompaniment, still needs to be reminded that it's a savoury dish. So I've got my mango salsa here. I'm going to cover it and put it in the fridge and leave it until when I'm plating up my dish, because that's finished now. And now I'm going to move on to the sweet potato terrine. So for the terrine, what I've done is I'm using a loaf tin, but if you have a terrine dish you can use that as well. I've lined it with baking paper. And what I've done is I have got my sweet potato, which I've washed and peeled. And then what I've done, sliced it very thinly, like so. I'll show you. You can use something like a mandolin for this, but you can also rely on your knife skills. Just cut really nice and thinly into the sweet potato. You've got nice thin slices there. And that's going to help it cook quicker. So I've got some more here, and what I've been doing is layering it up in the tin, overlapping them slightly and pressing them down as I go, so that when I turn my terrine out it's going to hold together and I'm going to be able to get a nice clean slice out of it. And I've also been adding salt and pepper, and also chunks of little bits of butter and some fresh thyme leaves as well, as I've been going between the layers. So I'm going to continue doing that now. As I said, I've been trying to overlap them slightly so that they lock together and make a nice shape. And this is going to it will take quite a while to cook because it's quite a dense terrine, because I'm pressing it down as I'm going. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the oven probably an hour and a half before I take my pork out, just so it's nice and soft all the way through and really unctuous and giving when I slice into it, so that all the sweet potatoes are fully cooked. So I've got my butter here. I'm just going to be adding it as I'm going, like so. Salt, pepper, I think when I turn the terrine out it'll look quite nice, because it'll be that nice deep orange colour that sweet potatoes go. It's kind of like Dauphinoise potatoes really, but I'm not using cream as a liquid to cook it in. I'm going to pour over a bit of chicken stock that I've infused with bay leaves, which is going to help it cook, and also the sweet potato is going to absorb the flavour from the stock as it cooks, which will make it more flavoursome and softer. Again, I'm going to go over with my butter and keep repeating this until the tin is filled up, like so. So this is the final layer now. Press it right down. And then I'm going to go in with the final bits of butter, and this will just give it a nice richness and also help to stop it from sticking. So you can see here it's all pressed down like this. And then finally what I'm going to do before I put it in the oven, I've got my stock here that's been infusing. I'm just going to pour it over like so. Doesn't matter if the Baileys come on, you can take them out. There we go. Probably put the rest of it in. And what I'll do now, I'll take these bay leaves out, is I'll cover it up and then I'll weight it down just to keep that density in there so I can get a nice slice, and then put it in the oven when my pork's got an hour and a half left to go. And those are my accompaniments.